Today's shout out goes to Carey Driver. Thank you, Carey. Ashaya Soul of the Wild versus Nicol Bolas the Ravager. We are definitely keeping that one because it's got a mana crypt in it. Not an incredible hand, but we can get up to our commander quite quickly, and we've got a turn 1 Rex Sage if our opponent wants to get down a Soul Ring or anything. So we'll just start things off with a forest. And it's just a tap land for our opponent. Maybe we go Vesuva onto that thing to get a scry of our own. Okay, Leyline of Abundance doesn't really help us, so yeah. Yeah, we'll put that on the bottom. And then a Talisman of Creativity for our opponent. I think we're okay to go in for the Reclamation Sage now then. And hopefully that will set them back. Would have been seeing their commander here. And there they go for a pillage onto one of our lands. So let's go for Forest Mana Crypt. We'll get down our commander, see if they've got any removal for it. And then let's swing in with our Forest Reclamation Sage. And our opponent decides to scoop to that. Alright, so messing with their mana did hurt them apparently. They needed that talisman to get into their commander because they weren't going to make any lands, so obviously not a real game. We'll get on with another one. Playing Ashaya again, of course, and this time we're up against Rienne, Angel of Rebirth. No lands, so let's mulligan. That's a pretty awful hand. We've got lands, but yeah, I'll have to mulligan that one as well. And that is much better. Let's get rid of a tree folk and a forest as well. Our Argothian Elder represents infinite mana. When our commander's in play, we can tap down a creature for mana, then tap this targeting itself, because it will be a land, and it'll untap the Dork, as well as the Argothian Elder. Got a couple of effects like that in the deck. And then we can go for big X spells and stuff like that. Our opponent fixing their mana, they are up to all 3 of their colours. We will go for Paradise Druid. And then if we can't get down our commander next turn, we'll go for the Argothian Elder. Kodama's reached for them, continuing to ramp. Alright, a Whispersalt Cloak now. If we go Forest, yeah, we're best just getting Summoning Sickness off of the Argothian Elder, because if we play our commander next turn, then we will have infinite mana. And our opponent goes in for their commander, a 5/4 flyer. Haven't seen any multicoloured creatures or anything yet, so let's get in for the Nykthos now. So we'll tap down the Dork and our lands, get down our commander, and then we can untap 2 lands. We will target the Argothian Elder and the Mana Dork, because this has Summoning Sickness, so we can't tap it for mana. And we'll just have to hope that our opponent doesn't scoop to the infinite mana. We only need 5 mana for the Whispersalt Cloak. So let's just get out the cloak now, show our opponent what we're doing. And then we'll put the cloak onto our commander. And that gives it Shroud and Unblockable now, so the more creatures we play, the bigger that thing's going to get, and it's going to be unblockable, so we should be able to get commander damage off quite comfortably. Okay, and yeah, that's typical of what you tend to get on Magic Online. There's lots of different types of players, so they don't really like that. Don't know what we would have drawn into. Another land. Yeah, just lands off the top, so our opponent had time. Lots of time here. Just because we've got infinite mana doesn't mean we have anything to do with it. We were not going to do anything with our infinite mana for the rest of the game, I imagine. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 turns where we don't really do anything. So, just because your opponent's got infinite mana, like I said, doesn't mean you should necessarily scoop. Our opponent may well have been able to outrace us if they could have gone for a board wipe or some kind of removal for our commander in this. But obviously they know their deck better than me. Let's try again. Alright, let's try again. This time up against the Locust God. We've actually got a decent hand there, so we'll definitely keep our full grip. Coming up against a lot of blue players, that's why there is some anti-counter spells in here. I think I'll have to up the number of those, get some like Veil of Summer, Veil of Autumn in here, stuff like that. Because if there's one thing you should know about Magic Online, it's that it's rammed full of blue players. Let's go for 3 visits, gets a Forest in untapped, which is good because it'll allow us to go for Nature's Law thanks to the Dork. Our opponent gets into their Skull Clamp on turn 1, by the way, with no means of using it, so yeah, that might be a more amateur thing to do. I'm not trying to rag on my opponent, but you don't typically play a Skull Clamp when you don't have anything to do with it, so this might be a newer player, is all I mean. Let's go for our commander now. And then swing in for 1. And we'll just have to hope that we manage to keep our commander in play until next turn. They get down Search for Azcanta and are now making use of it. Decide to put an island in the bin, so maybe they're searching for red. Well, they've got Command Tower, Sapphire Medallion now as well, so 3, 4, couple of lands away from getting down their commander. Let's drop a forest, see if they want to counter the Traverse the Outlands. In fact, let's swing in first. If they've got a bounce, they'll want to use it in response to attacks. But they do not. So we hit them for 8 commander. Let's attempt Traverse the Outlands. This will get us into 8 forests. If we keep our commander in play, which we do. And it takes forever to tap the lands for Traverse the Outlands, unfortunately, but managing to do it before our opponent scoops. Let's get down Incubation Druid as well. And pass the turn at that. As we can see, Ashaya has jumped up to a 17-17. And we've got a bunch of mana now, so we can attempt a Genesis Wave. Maybe they tap out for their commander here. But nope, just playing it out. They got rid of a Time Spiral, so it is the typical Wheels variant of the Locust God. They played it out as they should, see what they draw into, but we were just going to turn in sideways at them and get them on commander damage next turn, so yeah, that was a pretty fast one. No interaction from our opponent allows us to get a pretty quick win off. Let's try again. Going up against a special edition Kozilek the Great Distortion with no art and no lands means a mulligan. And we're having a tough time getting into the actual dorks in this deck. It's a higher curve than I'd normally go for in 1v1. I was just kind of play testing it in 1v1 and maybe we can get it going in multiplayer, but yeah, I'd expect to get into the dorks more often than we are doing. Okay, that's better. We'll keep that. Get rid of a Thespian Stage and a Force of Vigour. And we're on the draw again, so we just have to hope that we don't see a turn 1 Mana Rock. And we don't, that's good. So there's no, well, I assume there's no Mana Crypt or Mana Vault, anything like that. Boreal Druid for us. There's still Grim Monoliths and things like that to worry about against the Kozilek player. They do get into a dork in Hedron Crawler, get into a dork of their own. We just play a forest. There's nothing that we can do here. This is another card that we can infinite loop with once we get our commander into play. I'm hoping the colourless player doesn't have a lot of interaction. Could have swung in there actually. I thought that was a 1-1, but it is a 0-1. Yeah, colourless decks actually have more interaction than you'd think, but it is quite expensive, so I'm hoping that we can outrace our opponent. Especially seeing as how they don't have all that much going on at the moment. They seem to have concentrated on colourless creature dorks, which means they might have gone for the new Anthem from Zendikar. Yeah, that might be what their aim is here. Let's go for our Ley Weaver. And then we've got infinite colourless mana with our Boreal Druid next turn. Oh, we've got infinite green mana as well, haven't we? Because it will be a forest thanks to this. Forests tap for green, as I'm sure you're all aware. Let's see what lands they've got over here actually. They've got Endless Sands, a Grasping Dunes, and they've got a Stalking Stones as well. And going for the Grasping Sands, speaking of interaction, on our Mana Dork, maybe they know about the infinite combo that we can go for with that. Maybe they're just trying to keep us off of our commander. We'll drop a forest and go for the boom pile. Then we'll just swing in for 2, encourage them to swing in at us as well. They got down Darksteel Ingot and the Warm Power Stone last turn, by the way. So they're very, very close to their commander, probably going for it next turn. Our Military Sphere will get them into some wastes. And then they do swing in at us with the Dork, but leaving 1 back. I mean, there's no point swinging in with a 0-1, is there? Alright, forest for us. So let's get down our commander and we can try our luck with this Goblin Boom pile. We don't have haste on our commander, unfortunately, so we can't get the infinite combo going just yet. Let's go for the boom pile, see if we can destroy all of our opponent's non-land permanents. Our permanents are lands, well, except the Goblin Boom pile. All of our permanents are lands. And we lost the flip, unfortunately, so we might see a Kozilek next turn. We can always go for this again, though. Universal Solvent. And they are going to destroy our commander, I would think. Nope, going after the boom pile because they're worried about losing all of their stuff. Well, that held them off their commander for a turn at least, down to 0 cards in hand. Yeah, they must have played that waste then. Acidic Slime, what keeps them off their commander here? They've got 5 and 5, so nothing really. Play the Nykthos, and let's generate some infinite mana. With that, we'll go Acidic Slime onto... What is this? Yeah, maybe we just go for the Acidic Slime onto one of their lands, because we can try and grab back the boom pile later on, if we make it to later on. Make another piece of mana with our infinite combo, tap down the Nykthos, and let's return the boom pile now actually. I was thinking of going for the Limit Break with Nissa, but it's it's not going to do as much good if we don't have lands in our hand. So let's go for the flip with the Goblin Boom pile again, go for Tails, and lose the flip again. Yeah, let's just... Yeah, they're not going to swing in at us, so let's go in with our commander. Never know, we might be able to outrace them. They're going to refill their hand next turn if they go in for their commander, which they are likely going to. They just drew into a waste and play it straight away. So there we are, Kozilek comes down, refills their hand, they jump back up to 7. Had to tap out for it at least, because they lost a Dork, they've lost a land. So they've only got 1 mana available to them here, which they might be able to do something with. Alright, Soul of the Harvest. Let's tap that down for mana, and then untap it again with Nissa, because we may well lose Nissa here, she's not a land. And let's just stick with Tails here. Losing the flip again. I know as soon as I move to heads, it's not going to be heads anymore, that's why I'm being stubborn with it. Alright, so let's tap the forest down for mana. Do the infinite trick again. May well be that they can counter the Soul of the Harvest. In fact, save time, let's just do that. So now we've got a 10-10. It is not going to go up against the 12-12, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll just have to leave it there. If they want to swing into an Acidic Slime, then they're more than welcome to. They need to find removal for this, but with 8 cards in hand, which they will have next turn, they should be able to get into an answer. If we can plus this and then minus it down again, we might be able to keep going for Goblin Boom pile. I think that's pretty much our only out at this point. Either that or getting into Oblivion Stone, which they might be able to counter. Burnished Heart now, and this is the problem. The more time we give them, the more time they've got to recoup any mana that they will need to recast their Kozilek. Anyway, they've gone in for Triskelion here. So that's 3 bits of damage they can do. Might do it directly to Nissa. Yeah, going in at Nissa. Let's block with the acidic slime. This will encourage them to... yeah, it might encourage them... Oh, it has menace, okay. Let's block with a forest as well then. Yeah, this might encourage them to ping the acidic slime out of the way. And if they're doing that, then they're not pinging the Nissa. They decide to allow Kozilek to die. Goes back into the command zone. So maybe using that as a means of continuing to draw cards with Kozilek. Anyway, getting rid as well of our Ley Weaver. And they ping the Nissa as well. Paradise Druid for us. Let's plus on the Nissa after we've tapped the land for mana. Because again, we might lose Nissa here in the boom pile. In response, going for the Burnished Heart because they might lose it. And Tails again, and once again losing the flip. I'll tell you what, next time I'm going to go heads and you watch it come up as Tails. We'll draw a card with the Soul of the Harvest by casting the Paradise Druid. Alright, and getting 2 Beasts Within as well, so like I keep saying, our opponent might be able to counter that, but yeah, I think it's okay to maybe go for Beast Within on their commander, or attempt to. Let's leave back a forest. If they just decide to turn everything in sideways next turn, we can block 2 creatures and kill one with Beast Within. Hedron Archive for our opponent, some more ramp for them, some more card draw potentially. Then Basalt Monolith, that has the potential of being infinite mana. Then Thaumatic Compass, so just deciding to empty their hand before they go in for their commander again. Just even more ramp in Prismatic Lens. They've also gotten out, it's Urza's Factory, so they have Tron in the deck. Nephalia Academy as well. And Kozilek is on cast, I think. Yeah, you draw up to 7 on cast, so when it enters, they'll already have a full hand for the Beast Within. Alright, exiling the Goblin Boom Pile this time. So I think we have to destroy that with the... Yeah, I think we have to destroy that with the Beast Within. That also means that they can't turn everything in sideways at Nissa. Although they've tapped some creatures down anyway, but it's just 1 more creature for us. So I think I'm that annoyed with these flips on the boom pile that I'm actually just going to kill off Nissa and go for it again. Thaumatic Compass will flip, which is actually relevant because that is a Maze of Ith. Let's go after that boom pile again. Right, now then. I'm going to be really annoyed if I select heads and it comes up as tails, so I'm just going to stick with tails. There we go, we win the flip this time. So our opponent's stuff gets wiped out. They've still got a hell of a lot of mana though. 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So 1 land and they'll just be able to get their Kozilek straight back out again. Let's swing in at them. We just have to attempt to outrace them at this point. Going for the Spires of Orazca on our commander. They'll still have 8 dealt to them. And then we'll leave the land in hand. I doubt they'll play around it. They just have to get down their commander again at this point, but might be that next turn we can go in sideways at them and go wide. Okay, Nissa who shakes the world now. She gives the land haste, I think. Yep, she does, so we can play that. And untap it if needs be. Yeah, they've actually got no cards in hand here, so I don't know why they didn't play their commander, but there we are. Let's go for Nissa. There might be something that I'm not seeing. Untap that forest, put a bunch of plus counters on it. Like I said, there might be some interaction that I'm not seeing. This can become a manland. That can create an assembly worker. Oh, that's not actually part of Tron, is it? No, that's not one of the Tron lands. I dare say they've got Tron lands in here, but that's not one of them. Misspoke before. Yeah, so they can make a couple of dorks here. Remove something from combat there, so they're just trying to stem the bleeding at this point. So removing that from combat, animating this. They don't have the 7 mana for that anymore. So Yeah, they can just block there, although that has trample, so I think we've got them anyway. 3 goes through, 3 goes through there, and 2 goes through there, so had it not have been for this, then we wouldn't have got them here, so I'm glad that I played around that, because I definitely didn't pay enough attention to my opponent's situation going on over here, but managing to get a full game off there, so that was good. Glad I got to show you all what you can do with the boom pile in this deck. It's a one-sided board wipe. There's every chance that you wipe all your own stuff if your opponents get rid of Ashaya in response to the boom pile, but you can just put lightning greaves on it or something to protect you from that. You can also do the same thing with Oblivion Stone. Oblivion Stone is actually a better way of doing it because it doesn't rely on a coin flip, you just have to shell out the mana for it. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed this. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and comment if you did, and hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with more from the channel. I'm tribalkai from the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.